You better do an explanation there, Ben.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Nerds of Legend. We apologize for our long hiatus, but one of us decided that his organs were going to try and kill him.
Joel.
I decided that school was going to get much too difficult for me, and then these two, I don't know what their excuse is. It's probably something related to a 2-year-old.
We don't know how to run OBS.
Yes, yeah. So,
baby works too.
Okay, you're right. We'll edit that out. We'll say baby.
Yeah, so we're back.
Yeah, that's what it is.
With our book talk. Apologies for not announcing what the book was if you're trying to follow along.
We weren't doing shit.
Yeah. We just were like, let's read a book, and then we were like, hey, maybe we could talk about the book, like good old times, and that's what we did. So the book, nobody else was picking one, so I just picked one. It's Hyperion by Dan Simmons. It's a good old classic 1980s sci-fi. You know, everything's like lasers and like sonic wands and
reverse time travel.
Like, it's all like the good old like Buck Rogers, like Flash Gordon stuff. They don't really explain it, how anything works ever. Apparently there's trees that can travel at the speed of light or something.
Okay, I'll save myself for that.
But basically,
I thought it was just a ship. I thought it was the name of the ship.
That's what I thought. I thought it was the name of the ship.
No, because they kept referring to like these Templar dudes as like druids and like having trees, and like how they like cultivate the tree. Like somehow there's like druids came from some fortress world, or maybe it's just the shape of the ship. But it almost made me think that their ships were trees.
See,
But we haven't finished the synopsis first, so.
Oh yeah, my bad. Go ahead.
Basically, Hyperion. It's a book. It follows a group of pilgrims that were chosen pilgrimages. Pilgrims on a pilgrimage, as they were chosen to go to the world of Hyperion, which is a world that seems to have abnormal status in the current mildly let's call it corporatocracy that is the hegemony, because of the stuff that goes on the planet. Because there's a bunch of weird time travel shit that happens. Time acts weird. Nobody likes it. There's this apparently like omniscient, semi-omniscient god on there called the Shrike, which is just like a dude, like a 9-foot tall dude made of blades. So we'll get into that later. But basically. Yeah. It's a sort of, I thought of it as almost like as I read it, it's like a science fiction Canterbury Tales. Each of the different characters basically relays their story as they go on their pilgrimage, and each of the characters gains respect for each other, even though they kind of judged each other at the beginning.
It was like Canterbury Tales, but also like different literary references, like the one, like. So it was multi-layered references.
Yeah, I just remember I haven't. It's been a long time since I did Canterbury Tales, but it's like there was like, I feel like there's like the monk, there's like the soldier or the knight or the like whatever, the squire. There's the harlot. There's the poet, and then a couple others. I can't remember all of them from Canterbury Tales, but it follows a similar format. But basically, all of these people have traveled to Hyperion at some point in their life and have been emotionally scarred by it in some way.
Or physically.
Or physically scarred by it in some way. So I think the best way we could probably talk about this one is maybe break it up into the individual parts, because they're each their own sort of book. So before we start, does anyone want to share their thoughts on the book?
Missy just left. She's like, I'm done.
I know I emotionally devastated Missy with this one, so.
It was work. This book was work.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like the first bit of it, I was like, and now contrary to, even though we were not doing episodes, we did still read. So it's not like we're out of practice for this.
Yeah.
Like, But this one was a lot. Like
Yeah.
it was a very, very crunchy book, to use Ben's favorite word.
Yeah, this was crunchy sci-fi.
It jumped in where it jumped in with both feet. Like you thought, like it approached like we have been, like kind of like a book that's in an established world. Like there was a lot of assumptions, you know what's going on when they're talking. It just like jumped right in, like you should be aware of these concepts, and it took a long time for me to kind of get into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of did like the storytelling path where each progressive tale, because I was still lost after the first story.
Yeah.
I had no clue what the hell was going on after the first story.
A lot of it was explained by each layer of the mystery onion was like explained.
You have no clue what the hell's going on until story 5, and then you're like, oh, they're doing this. But that's after you got done sobbing.
They're throwing around like the hegemony and the collective and the Shrike and apparently like the Catholic Church went to a planet called New Peace or Pax or something like that. It was like some Latin word for peace or something. I can't remember. Mm-hmm. And not harmony. Whatever, doesn't matter.
There's like a lot. That like this is a book that if we had really decided, we would have needed to sit down and take notes. It is thick.
Mm-hmm. 20 hours.
And I think it was like a 20-hour listen.
Yeah,
give or take.
We're like 21 or 22, I think, actually.
Yeah, it was a long ass one, which nice one to just throw at us. Just you're like, let's get back in the groove, and Ben's like, right, the encyclopedia, perfect, let's go. And
no. In Ben's defense,
Ben likes them big though.
Books.
He likes books big.
Oh yeah,
also like I know he picked this randomly.
I did,
but it's loosely like literary related. Like this could have been a book to pander to me had you known about it, but it also was very thick, very dense.
Yeah.
The first one, or like the Canterbury Tales reference, but the fifth one, Bryn, whatever.
Ron
Lamius.
Yeah, the noir detective one. Yeah,
that was my favorite one. But the last one, that was loosely based off of Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, it was, but it was like Romeo and Juliet, but like I kept thinking of like, I don't think I ever actually saw the movie or read the book, but it was like Time Traveler's Wife.
That one is also very emotionally devastating, and I sobbed ugly.
Oh man, I picked a book that gave Missy an emotional response. I'm so proud of myself.
That's not hard to do.
No, it is not. Missy.
I don't think I've done it before though.
We were watching a TV show yesterday, and I like had some tears.
I was just.
The last time travel related cry I had was probably watching City on the Edge of Forever. Because I showed it to my mom and she cried, and I showed it to my brother and he cried. And then I watched it just because, and I cried. That was I had to think about the last time I cried relating to time travel.
I will say I did not pick this one at random.
When you cry so often, you have to break them into categories that finite.
Yeah.
Related to time
Joel,
I cried according to time travel. It's
the cry list is so long. I cried when I beat Yoshi's Story for Nintendo 64. I cried watching Furious 7.
I painted my first Tyranid.
Yeah.
No, not that. I cried when I dropped a mini.
I will say that I did not pick this one at random, Missy. I had I'd been looking for like sci-fi recs for a bit, and I found this website that was like, these are the 9 best sci-fi series of all time, and I read through like the things of each one, and I was like, this one sounds cool.
I hate you because I have to say, because of the way this book ended, I have to read the sequel.
I know.
And I'm really upset with you about it. You stopped watching Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. I don't even.
I did think we were gonna at least see them meet the Shrike, and then they were like walk off into the sunset, and I was grumpy about it.
Took face over like this 20-hour read took the space of like a car ride. Like it just said,
No, it was like a week-long journey.
Time is what?
It was a week-long journey.
Yeah.
Because
And time is, like,
they each told
on a
the
bus. It's a week-long bus ride, essentially.
Time is very
no
little in this book,
no.
but still.
First one they were on the ship, and then the next one they were on like the shuttle down, and then the next one they were on the like train, and then the next one they were on the planes barge, which was like sounds like basically a sailing ship, but like goes on like grass, and then the last one they were walking.
Yes.
So,
See the wizard.
Yeah.
Which is
So
And
so
our
what?
next book will be Wicked.
yeah. Our next book will be Wicked.
so
We
Brendan,
get to listen to this one and the very final bit of it. You're like,
yeah.
oh, why
So
not?
Brendan, what did you think?
So I had seen Hyperion years ago.
You had seen it? It's a movie?
No.
Your autism makes you see things when you read them?
No.
Is it a train?
Is it a train?
It's not a train. It's not my favorite train.
Which
no,
we all have them, by the way.
Well, Ben, Joel, and I have favorite trains. I don't know about Missy.
I don't.
What? Yeah, she does not.
My
No.
autism is Taylor Swift.
That is correct. That is 100% correct.
What I meant to say was there's an age that every person in our library has where they're not ready for thick books yet, but they find out the hard way.
Yeah.
So I've been reading comic books and like, oh, I read The Hobbit. It's such a big deal.
Oh, yeah, you think you leveled up when you like, I read Tolkien.
Yeah.
You finish Lord of the Rings and you're like, all right, Silmarillion time, and then you're like, oh god.
Yeah.
I tried that. I tried the
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, then going back to the Silmarillion. I didn't read that shit till I was in college because I could not understand it.
I don't think
100%.
I've read it in completion at this point. I've just given up
That's
multiple
wonderful.
times.
The thing with the Silmarillion is you can break it down into its component parts pretty easily online.
Yeah.
It's just
because-
an encyclopedia, you nerds.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It's a history
exactly. So-
textbook.
Yes, you minored in history. You should be all about that nerd history shit.
yeah, so
Yeah, read an encyclopedia. Stop fucking bitching me, Brett. Fucking cover to cover.
So like in the late '90s, the prettiest books are Del Rey books and books with full jacketed
Full
cover
art, yeah.
splashed all over. Yeah, and so Hyperion,
Don't downplay Tor Fantasy. Don't.
Tor Fantasy as well. I won't call it cheap schlock, but like, paperbacks and not hardcover and that sort of thing. And so Hyperion stuck out with its full splash text and everything.
Mhm.
And it won the Hugo. In '89 I got the Hugo. So Ben is his pick is of pedigree this time.
Yeah.
And
For once.
I say that having picked some trash myself.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
but
I don't know. Some of
so-
those Hugos.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I think that one you picked for us the one time was a Hugo.
Yeah.
I don't know. Our number one episode is still Ringworld by a large margin. Yeah.
It's almost like I wrote it. No.
Yeah.
I am glad I picked Ombre. I like that book as well.
Yeah.
I like.
He just listens to it on loop.
Yeah. Right. No.
That's what's in his headphones right now.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nessus, one of the best characters of all time.
Yes.
I would like to paint a Nessus to have on my desk or something. But yeah, the thing with Hyperion is I've actually never read the totality of the Canterbury Tales. I've read portions of it, and even that said, I liked the fact that this didn't really hold your hand. I liked the fact that you had to continue.
Not at all. This
Yeah.
was kicking you into the pool to teach you to swim.
It was so cool. I'm so used to. I almost want to compare it to like AAA titles today, video games, and then playing Mega Man X. Like Mega Man X does not explain things to you. You find out like, oh, I'm being
Yeah, the
chased.
story tells you what's going on.
The story reveals itself to you through sweat and tears. And Hyperion is very much you're buckled in, abandon this book or continue. And
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. I got immediate vibes of Dune, especially with like being like in time and space, and then Catholicism just out of nowhere. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, this
Yeah.
you know,
Space Pope.
yeah, space ball kind of
The reverence that they talk about Hyperion, like you did expect something like great was going to happen, and
Yeah.
it never
Yeah.
really did. Like the time tombs are interesting, but like they never really, something significant happens there, but you're not certain.
Well,
Yeah,
another thing
that's-
is like they have like a very reverent attitude towards Hyperion because it's almost seems like it's like a force of nature, but then
Right.
even the priests are are kind of like, yeah, the church ain't doing that great. Like,
Yeah.
not when you have like a literal like 12-foot tall god made of blades that can like show up and just murk people.
Right.
It reminded me of the Queen of Blades from Planescape.
Mhm.
This near immortal blade type being that can just appear and that sort of thing. But Ben put it best. It very much is a journey. I felt like this book is very much about the journey and not the destination.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely, because the destination sucked.
Because of I have to read now. I have to continue reading because like
I
what
know
is
it
what is it
definitely
about?
makes you continue.
Yeah, because like
But
one of the last nights
I
they
could
spent
not-
in.
I was viscerally upset at the ending of this book.
As soon as I finished it, I was like, "Oh fuck, Joel's gonna." We finished.
Joel's not gonna like it.
I finished this book and I was like, "Oh fuck, Joel's gonna kill me." Because it was just like literally just like they all held hands and walked into the sunset on the next stage of their
They were
journey.
off to see the river. Like that's the part where I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, you didn't even get anywhere. You
So good.
Save his daughter.
I heard it and I was like, "Ah, there's no plot resolution whatsoever."
Afterwards, I did, but when taking the journey,
When you
I didn't-
physically purchased the book, it was like, and then here
Yeah.
are the next one.
someone's thinking I read more into it other than finding the title and buying.
Well, usually there's at least some kind of plot resolution at the end of the book, and this one it's like
Not
at the end of
Wow.
at the end of every single part, the character telling their stories like and that's why I'm here now.
Yeah, literally, the story ends with them being like, "And that's why I told you this story." Like,
That's very Canterbury Tales.
Yeah,
Like, they're
yeah.
all trying to win, the prize or whatever
Yeah.
because they
wanted to
tell
have the
that
best story,
So,
right?
like, this is the best story. So you have the first one, which is the priest and the cruciform or
Mhm.
whatever,
Mhm.
and then the second one, which is just basically just the like poet banging everyone.
Yeah.
As he
Nice.
and sad that no one wants to read his like poetry. The third one,
the soldier.
I forgot all about that one.
Oh, yeah.
so.
Yeah, I was just-
The fourth one is I'd Cry.
Yeah,
and
the soldier was
I-
just like, I banged this chick for years. She just showed up whenever I went into
Oh,
simulation.
the metal vagina.
Yeah.
Somebody remembered that. Just in case you're wondering, ladies and gentlemen, the vagina does this.
Well, that's it.
From a woman. The vagina
Hold
does
on,
this.
hold on. We gotta.
It sounded like it was like all of a sudden they were
They
like
couldn't go like
banging-
this. They could
No.
like side to side.
No, it had to.
No, it's.
Well, because it was. Neither here nor there.
I just want to know what kind of
Metal.
smut do you read?
Don't worry about it.
I am actually very worried. now.
The fourth one was the sad one. The fifth one was my favorite one. I
Yeah.
love that.
I
one.
agree. That was
I was
great.
able to listen to it very fast. I flew through it, and then the sixth one.
It also explained the most. I think the fifth
Hey.
story. I think it explained
Can-
most over what's going on.
Can you guys
what
hear me?
Makes Hyperion unique.
Yes, I can hear you, Ben.
Okay. Because Joel and Missy were so excited about the book, they went like full on robot mode for a bit there, and I don't know who has the connection issue, and I can't figure out if it's me or not.
I don't know.
All
They
right.
sound good to me, so
Okay, might be my problem then.
it might be a you problem.
Usually,
Yeah,
It's okay.
it's
They
okay.
have medicine for that now.
Yeah.
Once you heard of the sideways snapping vagina, you just lost it. Man. It's okay.
I got that part. I got
It's
that
1 in
part.
5, man. It's all up in your head. It's a performance thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. You take some breaths, some reassuring. You'll get through this. You can rise to this occasion, Benjamin.
I know that you're intimidated by the chomping vagina, but it's okay. Chomping. Like a crocodile.
I was more concerned about the comfort of our listeners, but apparently it just seems like that's everybody else decided.
Again.
Yeah.
No one is here for comfort, Ben.
no one listens to my
I
voice.
meant audio, whatever. Everyone sounds like robots except me. So
He is the AI.
I'm trying to close tabs.
Ben
Down.
is AI.
He is Hyperion.
Yeah, I guess so. Hold on, I'm
So,
closing
anyway,
some stuff down. Oh, that helped.
The book was the fifth story, I think, is the one that exposed most. Where they started talking, and you could see the you learn a little bit of the story, like the Shrike are like the reason why Hyperion's got all this stuff on us, not from the past, but from the distant future, and that's an interesting twist.
Yeah,
Like I haven't seen or heard a story where they're like, yeah, they're being attacked from the future, coming backwards. You're like, that was a unique twist. I really liked that.
yeah, that one was cool. I liked all of them, and for different reasons. It was very interesting.
I hated it until we started understanding what was going on with like the like wax people that got dumber every time they were resurrected.
Yeah,
They kept putting this like,
yeah.
life form on them that wouldn't let them die.
No, it wasn't because they kept. It wasn't because they kept doing it. It was because they had done that.
But they kept dying. Mm-hmm. And it's like the light. It's like the cruciform was too lazy to like put in the work to bring it all the way back. So it's like
you don't really.
The end. These things were like by the end.
Yeah.
And they couldn't do anything, so it's just like they're just like ambulatory blobs.
They're like, you don't really need a penis, do you?
Right.
Well, and like the guy who crucified himself, right, on the tree, and it kept like the testicle tree, and it kept trying to like.
Ben ruined that for me. He told me that when I thought I finished the story, and he's like, "Oh no, there's like 10 more minutes," and he just laid it all out. And then I was like, "Oh."
Well, because you said you finished it.
Well,
and then...
it stopped. I thought it was done. I didn't know that the guys were going to be like, "Oh," because they went back, and I remember I was going to go to the comic. I was going to go to CJ's, and I
felt bad because
I think Magic Card. I don't know.
Did you audiobook it?
Yeah.
That's why. Am I the only one that reads these things anymore?
Yes, nerd.
So,
What do you think I'm doing at work? I pretend I'm doing an important call, and I just talk to myself and look crazy while I'm listening to an audiobook. Nobody comes to my office.
there were a fair amount of these books that we've done where I listened to it at work on YouTube. So that's fair. Did anyone else get the urge, once things started to become clarified, to start over previous portions and reread them?
No,
there were definitely.
I did get urge to read the Wikipedia page when I was.
That counts.
Yeah, I did look at some wikis to understand what the fuck they were talking about.
But
There were definitely a couple times where I was like, "Wait, did I miss something?" Like, I feel like that was a callback. You know, like.
I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything, so I did finish, and then I read the Wikipedia.
If someone just joined, they might also mistake this for us reading the Brothers Karamazov or something.
Yeah.
Like there's so many books you can just jump in halfway and be like, so I had to read the wiki after. And,
yeah. Brothers Karamazov. I tried reading another Brothers Karamazov book after that. Monday Starts on Saturday, and it did not have the same appeal.
That took so long.
Russian lit's not your thing, Ben?
No, apparently not.
No, I went. But as any English major, I went through a Russian literature phase where that's all I read, and I thought I was very cool and pretentious, and what I really was annoying as shit. So
yeah, every English major has the War and Peace phase. They're all like, well, my favorite book is War and Peace. What do you think?
Just like that.
Yeah.
I have existential depression.
Yeah.
No. And then we realized we're just annoying.
Yeah. Because people are like,
Some
cool.
don't ever.
So anyway, Hunger Games. No. Yes. So I guess we'll do a little. So this is where we're gonna get into like plot spoilery stuff if people are tuning in or whatever. But
we just bulldozed right to the ending of the book.
I know, but we didn't really
Like,
talk.
you make it more spoiler, then they all link arms and skip off into the sunset.
I know, but
They
we
can
didn't
run-
really talk about
If I would
the.
have known that was the last sentence of the book, I would have thrown it out the window on my phone.
The
We didn't-
the ending of the book is not the spoiler. The spoilers really are the journey. The
Yeah.
ending is a complete non-ending. It's
Yeah.
the next one.
Yeah.
So
No,
The ending is next time on Dragon Ball Z.
right. The next story, the ending of the book just guarantees that you spent 20 fucking hours listening to this bullshit, got no resolution whatsoever. You have to read the second story.
And guess what? This one's 25.
Normal people do.
the ending of the book is just Goku. Well, I guess the Hyperions, the friends I made along the way, and I'm really hungry. You could say that again, Goku.
I don't like you.
Hey man, that's a pretty good popo.
Yeah.
I was pretty. Yeah, it was very good, but I'm very upset with you right now.
Not the correct version of Popo. Goes you,
Yeah.
then the dirt. Anyway, that's for another time.
She's like nerds because Dragon Ball
So-
is beneath her.
All right, so
She
the
watches
first
Sailor Moon, and that is it.
story in the book was I feel like was like the biggest kind of like mind fuck one, because there's a lot of weird
Priest?
the priest yeah
Yeah.
because there's a lot of weird shit going on.
Yeah.
So like
And it was the hardest one to start with.
It started super fucking slow. That was
Yeah.
yeah,
that
but I
was-
feel like it's also I feel like all the stories did kind of like ramp like each story successfully like
Yeah.
ramped in sort of like action a little bit, like because like after the priest you get the soldier and that one's kind of slow too, and then you get the poet and then and that's when shit goes off the rails, but
But
like
it was the Robo Vagina one.
No, the soldier was the robo vagina. Don't
Yeah.
you remember they were like traveling and then all of a sudden they were like banging and then she was like she turned her metal teeth on and then he just came 3 times.
Oh, that's right. He was just fighting her off and jizzing.
Yeah.
That's I remember that. Okay.
yeah
He's like fighting for his life.
because the
jizz everywhere.
because the Shrek
I was
is
like,
essentially
"Ooh, fuck,
Slanesh, but we'll get to that one
Yeah.
when we get to that one. So basically, the priest,
Yeah.
the priest story,
Next time we'll be talking about Slanesh.
This is Ben's choice, by the way.
yeah.
Ben,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
I was like, hey, I picked a book with sex in it. Missy can't make fun of me for
Yeah.
this one.
No, I can.
Fucking
Anyway.
You had the wrong kind of sex. This doesn't have beaver teeth.
Hey, story's
Kinda
fun.
like American.
Anyway, so story
Oh,
one.
American God, the man-eating vagina. Yep.
I bet that also
Vagina
No,
dentata. It does exist.
Continue, Ben.
I'm sorry. We're making
Sure.
fun of your sex. Ben. Continue.
So
Very nice.
the first story is follows the journey of a priest who's on the pilgrimage, but you find out that his story is not his own story of Hyperion. It's his mentor, basically, like his an older priest friend of his that had gone to Hyperion and disappeared, and he produces some like blood-stained and like really messed up journals that he reads through, and everyone's like, whoa, if this is your story, then you can't be in the competition. He's like, well, I can't tell my story about why I'm coming here unless I tell these journals. And then anyway, so basically this priest he went to some other planet, and it seems like the space Catholics in Hyperion are big on archaeological digs.
Space Catholics.
Yeah. Like they have their own like home planet where they like, because Earth is apparently lost, by the way.
Doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah.
Old Earth, new
Yeah,
Earth.
yeah. So
I'm
they have
gonna
like
be honest. If anybody could lose a planet, it would be humanity.
yeah.
It would be us.
So they
It's already lost.
so like the like and then so the Catholics went and like set up their own church on some like planet, and they named it some like virtue. And this priest goes to a planet, and he like makes some archaeological find, and whatever it is, it causes him to basically get like I'm not sure, it's like he's not fully like excommunicated, but he's basically like banished.
No, he lied. Because he lied about it. He faked according to the Wikipedia.
Oh.
He faked it.
I'm assuming we find that out later.
You know how proud I am that she had to break down and go to the Wikipedia? Because I've had to do it a shitload of times while talking to you fuckers.
Yeah, because you know what she didn't go to the wiki for? You know what she didn't go to the wiki for? Warhammer.
That's right. Although Warhammer, you got to go to Lexicanum. You got to
Yeah.
go to like a dedicated wiki.
Yeah, so basically, he's got a priest buddy who gets like banished from the church, and he's like, I'm gonna go to Hyperion, because basically it seems like he decided to go to Hyperion because of like whatever he found on this archaeological dig. And the priest is like, he was like his escort. He basically like this guy that's on the pilgrimage has to travel all the way to Hyperion to like escort the priest, I think, to make sure that he actually ends up there. But so like the one thing with space travel in this universe is anywhere well that too. But anywhere you go, if you travel at like faster than light or like sublight speeds, you acquire a time debt. So it's sort of like
but that's just regular relativity.
No, it's like the Forever War. So it's like whatever you do, like it's like for you, it's like I was on a ship for like a week, but then when you get back, if you like come back to your home planet, it's like, oh, you've been gone for 10 years.
Yeah.
This becomes important later. So basically, he's like, he got this assignment to accompany this priest to the Hyperion, and basically he like, for him it was like 3 months, and for like everybody else on his home planet it's been like 8 years or 3 years or something like that.
It is in fact a tree.
Whoa. I knew it was a tree. I said it was a tree.
You did know it's a tree. I thought it was an allegory. It wasn't.
No, it was just like a tree. So they get to the planet, and then the priest is like, he's like, so what are you going here? You going to the time tombs? He's like, time tombs are old news. He's like, you gonna like look at the Shrek? Why would I go to like that guy? He sucks. And then he's like, there's all these like marvels on Hyperion. There's apparently this expansive
and the labyrinth,
like
that's
endless like this entire planet like below the earth, like the crust is like a massive like labyrinth and maze.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, no, I'm gonna go contact this like uncontacted tribe in like the fire forest. And you're like, the fuck's the fire forest?
Yep, that's literally what I thought. As you're going, I'm like, this is gonna sound terrible.
Yeah.
But
so basically, his journey, he's like miserable the whole time. He almost dies partway through, and then he almost dies again when he finally gets to this tribe, and then they kill his guide. So basically,
but it turned out they don't really understand.
yeah. So basically, this fire forest
is.
Yeah. So basically, this fire forest, because this was kind of cool. Basically, like 11 months out of the year, it's this forest. This forest is basically consumed by fire, because all the trees basically, as a byproduct of like living, produce flammable gas. And then there's these other trees called Tesla trees that are like interspersed throughout that randomly just like generate static charge and then like blast lightning everywhere and then set the forest on fire. So it's like constant. So basically this uncontacted tribe is like they're these they live in a like one clearing on the edge of a gorge, and they never see the night sky because it's like constantly like occluded by smoke from the fire forest. and they're basically the remnants of a group of settlers, colonists to Hyperion, whose ship crash landed in the middle of this forest. And they're like, how is this like small community like still around? Because like the ship crashed like hundreds of years prior. And the priest is like sort of like trying to communicate with these people, and he speaks the language because he has like a communicator device of some kind. But they all like basically whenever like there's certain questions that they basically don't have answers to, like anything related to time, anything related to death, any relation to like what they're doing there, like why they killed his guide. They're like, and then they just like because
they have no idea.
Because he needed the true death. And so like there's basically it's a constantly unfolding mystery, and like he's like, why didn't you kill me? He's like, because you are of the cruciform. And then you find out eventually that the cruciform is like some kind of like
Parasite.
coral like parasite that's like in the shape of a cross that like basically they put over their sternums, and it like implants into you and you can't remove it, and it only wants you to stay like right in that area. And in exchange, like basically it's like you can't die. Well, you can die, but then you come back.
Yeah, ish.
And
Ish.
he is returning because it hurts him to be so far.
Yeah, so this priest buddy, he goes searching for like the disappeared priest, because the disappeared priest got like became a member of the cruciform, and he's like, oh shit, I can't leave. And they keep trying, like every time he tries to run away, they bring him back, and every time he like tries to die, like he comes back to life. So he's like, fuck. So then he's like, I'm like, this thing doesn't like pain. So like he goes and he nails himself to this Tesla tree, crucifies himself on this Tesla tree, which you don't find out until the end of the story, when the priest is basically like, yeah, so he went off into the fire forest and died, and nobody ever found him again. And then the guy who's like essentially the main character of the book, he's the consul. After the story, he goes and finds the priest, and he's like, you've got the cruciform, don't you? Because the priest is like, like he's the consul has stolen the priest's pain drugs.
Yeah, he's on a shitload of them.
Yeah, because basically, if you leave the area where these cruciforms live, the cruciform puts you in immense pain to make you to come back. And he's like left, and he's been basically constantly blitzed out on heroin ever since.
Yeah. Much like many priests.
Yeah, totally.
I was gonna say cruciforms aren't real, so what's everybody's excuse?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a really interesting. This one's so basically
like
it's
the way the cocaine smells.
oh, so we forgot to mention the way the tribe people come back after they die is like they're not like basically every time they die. So it's like a form of eternal life, which is like something that like this priest was sort of like searching for. I mean, it is, but it's like every time they come back, they're lesser. So like they're less capable. They forget more things. Eventually, they become Ken dolls. And then, they lose like their knowledge and ability to communicate, except with like each other. So like they're left with like basically like they're able to like perform the basic functions of living. So it's like going like foraging for food.
Like where you got weirded out with the fact that when they didn't have anything to do, they just sat in their huts doing nothing,
staring at the wall. Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, they just sit there.
True NPC behavior.
Right?
Yeah, so it's like, not entirely sure what the message of this one was, but it was like sort of interesting because it sort of like builds this like, Hyperion has weird shit.
That one definitely hooked you into like being like, well, that was fucked up. What's
Yeah.
the next story going to be?
Yeah, right.
And the next story is metal vaginas.
Is it, or is it the priest?
No.
No, priest was the
No,
first.
soldier was
right,
soldier. So the soldier was the next one, and I was like, "What the fuck book did I pick?"
Yeah, we were upset with you.
I got through. So when I was sick, he finished it before, but for most of
Playing
it,
Stardew Valley.
I
So there's a lot of
was-
farming in my
Yeah.
perception of.
Yeah,
but for most of
here.
it, I outpaced him.
Yeah.
Like I was listening to it at a faster. Like, and so I got to the metal vagina before he did.
Yeah.
And then he was like, what the fuck?
So basically, the soldier part is like it's like this dude who's like a super accomplished general within the
You can fuck off.
what you call it, the
Not you, yeah. The dog is once again. He's been out 27 times.
whatever the name of the company, country, world government is, galactic government. He's like a big deal general guy, and he tells this story of like, so like the way they train their soldiers in this like future sci-fi world is like they put them in AI simulations of like ancient battles. So like the first one he goes in, he's like at like in some like on the fields of Rome. I can't remember which bat. Like he like mentions like each battle that he participates in these simulations, and it like basically measures how good you are at fighting. But at the end of the battle, he like runs into this chick, and then like they fuck each other's brains out, and then like he's like, I'm in love with this chick, and then she disappears, and then he's like does another simulation like a while later, and then it happens again. So he's like.
But he like, I don't think he says anything, but he listens, and everyone's simulation just ends with a war.
Yeah.
Right? With
Yeah.
back. So
Yeah.
he's the only one that has this.
Like sex scene at he gets the fade to black scene at the
He
end. You know?
works so good, he gets the sex.
Yes. Yeah. So he gets this extra piece, and
So basically, like he gets addicted to
DLC.
he gets like addicted to these simulations
Download
and
that.
fighting, because every time he gets to like every time he does one of these, he like has mind bending sex with this beautiful woman, and he like falls in love with her. Eventually, he figures out this is some kind of like AI or something. And it leads him to Hyperion, where he gets captured by this other faction, which it's not clear whether they're like other humans or if they're like some alien race, but they're called the Ousters. And they're like,
Yeah, I thought they were humans.
I think they're like
Yeah.
humans, like with not within the hegemony or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Not even talking about this is crunchy.
yeah. And eventually he's like, so he shows up, he ends up on Hyperion at the time tombs, and then the bitch walks out of the time tombs. And he's like, I've been looking forever for you. And he's like, they're gonna kill me. And then she's like, no, they won't. And then the Shrike shows up. It was like, I believe I said he was 9 feet tall before, but I think they might actually say he's 13 feet tall. It kind of moves
He's
around.
big.
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
And he's made of blades. And his favorite way of killing people is giving them a hug.
All I
So-
thought was Tyrannid. We never thought about it. Like that's literally all I thought about was it was Tyrannids.
I had like an image of my head different. I can't remember what I thought of, but it was just like I feel like it was something from like Transformers or whatever, where it's like they're all like mid transformation, where it's all like metal shards like moving around in like a Michael Bay Transformers movie.
The new
No,
the
it's like
new
praying mantis.
Yeah.
Trigon. The new Trigon, his brother Knives or whatever has like
Yeah.
millions of knives around him. That's what
Yeah.
I thought about.
So like anyway, like the Shrike
It's like
thing can basically like move faster than like can like trap people in time, like out of time. So like the soldier, his like lady friend, and the Shrike just go and like murder like these ousters that were like chasing him, and then they like run away, and they're like they get let go, and then he like there's like, oh, it's time to fuck again, and then she like basically just like is like, now this is the part where I cut your dick off, and then it's like he's or something. I'm not entirely sure. I kind of blanked out during that
We
portion.
came for your banana.
Yeah. So they end up like
That's stupid.
they end up fucking, and he's like, I'm not in control of my body right now, and then he gets scared and runs away because she freaks him out. But apparently it's like it's sort of like a River Song situation where like she's known him, like they're like living their lives in reverse. Like so like every time he meets her is like she remembers less of who he is and he remembers more of her, sort of thing.
Was it that one or was it the last one?
No, that's the soldier one is basically like she's like from the time tombs and associated with the Shrek. So she's like moving backwards in time. So every time he meets her, she's younger, or like she's like she remembers less of him. She just like knows what he is and his purpose. But she's like,
So
join
like,
us.
Time goes by faster.
Yeah.
Like she does it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. That one was crunchy. And I was like, that one was weird. And then we get to the poet. And this guy's a riot. He's basically just like
Turns himself into a
yeah.
satyr or
He's
whatever.
basically a full-on hedonist. He's all about basically he's like a survivor of old Earth. He got put on a slow ship in like cryostasis. And because of like how cryostasis works, if you're like in it for too long, your brain kind of gets mushy. So
where
he
you
like
can only swear.
He's on this like he's on this mining planet, and he can only speak. He can only like say like all like the cuss words. Oh no, he can say fuck, shit, goddamn, ass, pee pee, poo poo.
Yep.
He turns it into like a best-selling novel.
Yeah. No, but he's eventually able to write. Like figure out how to write again. So like he's like starts writing his poetry cuz he was like this super like silver spoon got kid on like old Earth that was like had the best education possible, like was like kind of like a literary genius and stuff. And then his entire like lexicon is reduced to like 6 cuss words.
Mm-hmm.
The entire ban list of FM radio.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like treated as this dumb like just like worker bee, and then he eventually someone finds his manuscript after he gets in a work accident, and he gets discovered and they sell his poems, and it becomes this like, oh, this is a guy from like old Earth, and like he knows all this shit, and like it's like he's like wildly successful. And then eventually he gets like the lady that founds him is like his that he gets married to, and then she like gets addicted to like reliving her old memories, which is apparently a thing you can do because everyone has like brain implants. So you just like plug a jack in your head and just like relive your happy memories and shit. And then he gets divorced by her when he like doesn't want to do that shit anymore. And then he like goes to his publisher and he's like, I got this book about Hyperion, and she's like, it's not gonna sell, it's gonna suck. And he's like, I don't believe you, because she's like, nobody reads anymore, so it doesn't matter.
She looks directly in the camera. Don't
Yeah.
publish Hyperion, it's gonna suck.
Yeah. and then basically it's like she lets him publish it. It's like super like unsuccessful, and then he's like massively in debt because like they took on his publishing contract. And then she's like, now I own you, and now you have to make books that I tell you to make. And so then he just basically starts publishing smut.
As one does.
And then he does that for years. He like makes a shit ton of money. He has all the fun he wants. And then eventually he like gets tired of it. And he's like, I'm done with this shit. I like
We
it.
just let Ben tell us the story and then not read the book.
Yeah.
All right, I mean, you guys want to discuss it or what? But
No, you're doing just fine. We'll
and then eventually he's like trying to find his move, and he finds Mad King Billy, which is like something that I wanted to know about from the second it was mentioned at the beginning of the book. And like Mad King Billy is this dude who's like, he's not actually mad. He's just like he wants to like create this like world of creative people, and he's like doesn't like he's like a really savvy investor, and he just like wants to.
That's fair.
Yeah, he's like basically like a I don't know Warren Buffett type. He just like makes a bunch of money and then he like wants a bunch of like creative people to like dance to his tune.
Create like the island of
Yeah, Island of Poets, or City of Poets or whatever. Yeah, that one is.
So Austin, he wants to make Austin, Texas.
And he's like, and so like our poet friend, he's like fucking tired of everything, and because he can't, like, he's done all this bullshit of like writing smut for so long, he can't write anything creative anymore. So he's like, I've lost my muse, and he like goes to old King or Mad King Billy, and Mad King's Billy's like, he's like, are you gonna write more shit like the Earth cantos? He's like, that's what I want. He's like, good. If you're gonna say you're gonna write that smut, I was gonna kick you off my city, out of my city. I was like, yeah. I was like, I love this guy.
Ben would love a guy who's campaigning against pornography.
Well done.
All right, we're listening.
Well, that's it, everybody. Thank you for joining.
But yeah, so like this guy, like he goes like into like full, he goes like full hedonism mode, and he literally goes under like genetic engineering to literally transform himself into like a Pan-esque satyr.
I'm so dumb.
It
That
was,
makes no sense. Like,
And then just bang.
and then just fuck everything and do all the drugs.
That honestly was the one point in the book. I'm like, I've already read about a giant bladed entity and about fuck simulations and like space Catholicism
war
and
training, fuck simulation.
and parasites, but like getting the digitigrade legs and the little horns.
That's where he draws the
That's,
line.
I'm like, why?
'Cause you
Oh, don't forget, don't forget,
Myth?
don't forget. He gave himself a giant hog.
Yeah.
Didn't you play a D&D character like this?
Yes, I did. Oh,
That yeah.
yeah, Zerakos. Yeah, and then basically the guy like goes into the Shrike archives. They eventually like flee to Hyperion for some reason. I can't remember. And then they set up a city of poets by the time tombs. And then eventually, like, people, like, he accesses the archives and starts writing about the history of Hyperion. And that's what causes the Shrike to show up. And basically just, like, show up and punishing sinners. And then he barely escapes and stuff.
You're like, your book sucks. Stop it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, I would argue that, like, the Shrike didn't show up to punish Mad King Billy until he was destroying the poet's work about Hyperion.
Wait, say that again?
Yeah, I didn't pick
Like
that
the
shit up.
the Shrike showed up to kill Mad King Billy when Mad King Billy started burning the manuscript, the poet's manuscript.
I don't remember. I think I blacked out after he being a
After the satyr legs, yeah. After he's like,
I'm gonna admit,
after he became the avatar of Pan,
kinda like,
yeah.
I don't give a fuck about the rest of the story.
Anyway,
You just kinda
yeah, that one
slog
was
it
weird.
through hope.
Yeah. So then we get to the fourth story, which is like a drastic
Skip over
shift.
That one was way too sad.
Yeah, basically, this guy, he's a scholar of Hyperion.
His
daughter,
scholar.
he's a
And his
Jewish
daughter
scholar.
was super intelligent.
Yeah, she's a archaeologist. She gets like some like disease on Hyperion that causes her to age backwards. So every day she lives is like she wakes up the next morning and it's like the day before. So she's like living through her life in like backwards style, and eventually like she becomes a teen. It's very sad and it sucks, and it made me sad. And yeah, it's a tearjerker, and it's basically him trying to deal with like his daughter like aging before his eyes, or like de-aging before his eyes.
But
It's
on the
a-
same note, then
It's like Benjamin
you
Button.
have to explain, like you can't. You have to explain what's going on.
Yeah.
All the time. Like she has no idea.
Every morning he has to give her like the spiel of like especially when they move away from their planet because like everyone finds out about them and they get like followed around by the space paparazzi. So like they move to like a Jewish commune in order to like not get bothered all the time.
And like the mom, like she's like she goes away for the first time
Ever,
like, really ever,
Yeah.
right? And she dies, and that's what like I'm crying.
Yeah, that
like,
sucked.
Like
As soon as she said she was gonna leave, I was like, "Oh no!"
I know.
I knew it
Yeah.
was gonna. It was like
And
so
every
telegraphed.
day, he had to tell her his
Where's
daughter
Mama?
every single day.
Where's
Where's
Mama?
Mom?
She went on a trip,
You know?
honey. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just absolutely heartbreaking. But you like it. I do remember like being like, "Why the fuck's there a baby on board? Like, who the fuck's
Yeah,
bringing a
that's-
baby?"
Yeah, that was weird. And then like it like finally
That's
explained it. You're like,
story
"What the?"
Where
You're like,
things started to like make sense.
that's why I think like the third and fourth book is when they finally started like explaining some of those like mysteries that were like introduced like right at the beginning, and I was like, okay, I'm in now. It's like they're finally starting to explain shit.
Yeah. I remember being like, who the fuck? I cannot think of something worse than bringing a baby. I'm like,
But
Yeah.
but once you see
Yeah.
it, you're like, yeah, I would bring the baby.
Yeah.
It's a credit to the book, how his daughter's condition is presented and how heart-wrenching it is, because I remember watching Benjamin Button and being bored out of my mind
Yeah.
and going, I'm just gonna wait until I want to see how he dies,
Mhm.
and then I don't care anymore. And it was just so boring. And
Well, yeah, because they threw a love story into it. This one, it was like reverse Benjamin
Yeah.
Button because like the love story like vanished.
it faded away much like her existence, and I
Yeah.
thought that
It didn't fade away though. That guy was still just as much in love with her at the end. when
Yeah,
was-
but he
was
showed up-
researching the shit out of it.
Yeah, but then it's like he saw her when she was like 10, and then they never heard from him again because he's like, oh
That's because they moved, but
Yeah.
like,
no,
He did all he could. He lost.
Yeah.
I think they lost the funding.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
You know, so he came to apologize. Like, I tried and I couldn't find anything. And then like Rachel came out and she was 10 or whatever.
yeah,
and he-
it's like, and then his brain broke a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
well, I mean, like, there's nobody in the world that can write a story that's going to be endearing for a guy to be like, "Hey, my 30-year-old fiance is now 10.
yeah,
I'm still into it."
yeah.
There's no way that would have worked.
No,
Right.
but like it's
Yeah,
also like,
100%.
but they like managed to do it without being like. I feel like there's like a line where like that could have like the guy could have been like. There's a line where they could have made that weird, but instead they just made it tragic.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, for sure. And they
I don't think there'd have been a possible way to play that off and have it be like endearing. Tragic
No.
is the only correct way for that to work.
Right, but I've like that's what I mean. Like,
No, I know. I'm agreeing
Yeah,
with you.
yeah.
I'm just saying I don't know if there's a way of storytelling that could have made
which
that
is basically
interaction.
like,
been button route and just be boring as shit.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, but
Yeah, so the fourth one we don't have to talk about because it was sad.
we just talked about it.
Um
He refines his faith. That was cool.
It was cool.
yeah. Well, he has these visions of you have
Yeah,
he's
so like
on-
basically he gets these
Story of
visions that are
Abraham.
telling him to return her to
Right.
Hyperion and sacrifice her. And he's like, I don't know what that means, but I don't have any options left.
right. Well, then the wife who was like, "Hey,"
And then you
I'm
find
at-
out she's been having
I
the
don't
same
do that.
vision like this entire time and they just never talked about it.
Yeah. Why would you?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I don't know. I feel like there's a point.
You need to go take the baby out back and.
I feel like there's a point where if I had a recurring dream or nightmare, I would talk to somebody about it.
Yeah, but I think
he's struggling with his faith, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
he's like having these conversations. Like this is a very biblical story.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. Like,
this
and
is
if
one
you
of the
think-
founding, like
Yeah.
like core biblical stuff.
Yeah.
and I think about that all the time in terms of like the Bible, like, you know, like if someone today was like, I am the Son of God, that person, even if they're doing miracles, they're in a psych ward,
Yeah.
right? Like, you know, they're getting CT scans to make sure they don't have a
Or they have a
tumor.
YouTube channel.
They're getting they're getting black bagged into Area 51 is what's going
know,
on.
like,
If they're doing miracles, they're getting black bagged. You know, like
All
Yeah.
depends how good they are.
yeah,
But you know what I mean? Like, but some, like, foundationally,
yeah,
all of these things, like, you know, your blind faith of
Yeah.
you know, sacrificing your child, and, you know, all of the, like,
yeah,
it's just, so it's him coming back to his faith, him questioning it. It's very, you know, very Old Testament based.
Yeah.
As Jewish, so that
Yeah.
makes
I did like the statement when they go to like the Jewish like commune planet, and he's like, and it's like a fucking nasty desert world, and he's like, man, we Jews really are gluttons for punishment, aren't we? Like,
That was pretty funny.
wandering the desert.
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
that was funny. Like there's like so many like random humor moments that happen in this series that are fun. And so like the next book is this one is a very like a really big shift in tone. It's like a noir detective
Yeah.
sort of
But that one was a nice palate cleanser from the other
yes. I was like, oh,
Like,
thank
it was-
God. Like,
it-
oh,
it-
this is not as serious.
It was my favorite one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it was the fastest moving one.
yeah,
Like
It was
the
short.
one that I was like the most
No babies
invested.
died or
No
aged
babies
backward.
died.
Yeah.
Just the AI.
yeah. So basically,
Like,
the
I just porking the shit out of her.
And she gets knocked up.
And she gets knocked up by an AI baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's-
oh,
I
I missed
cannot-
that. Holy
I
shit!
cannot-
You missed that, but you picked up all these other nuances in the story.
Yeah.
yeah, she's
Flat
pregnant.
out said she's pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then I also thought,
The wrap up parts of the chapter I tend to like find like I tended to like phase out because I'm like, come on, get to the next story already.
Good to the next story. This is about women. Disgusting.
but the Seder one, he's like, I'm fucking
Yeah.
into it.
Oh yeah.
that was in the middle of the story. That wasn't like in the wrap up.
Tell me about this massive meat goat-legged man.
I need
I
inspiration
need to
for my
know all
next
about it.
campaign.
Yeah.
I'll never think of Tumnus the same way again.
I was thinking of the reading there.
We gotta do a full 180.
Was he pouting? Oh,
pouting.
poor guy.
Oh.
It's okay.
It's okay,
your
Ben.
penis isn't as big as a Seder.
Yeah, you. not
He
everybody can have
made
a-
it. He made it. He picked it.
Yeah.
You guys done?
Someday you'll have a big goat penis too.
Punch you. When I see you on Saturday, I'm gonna punch you so hard. Oh God.
Like you lied. It's regular human penis.
That's it. I'm putting my anvil on offer up and just putting it on the curbside.
I have an anvil. It's the forge I need.
That one too. I'm just gonna put everything. I'm gonna give it to the
Sorry,
scrappers.
Ben. You have a very pretty beard.
He can't comment on your penis
I can't comment on your penis
publicly.
No.
publicly, but I will put it in the comments.
So, are we done?
I don't know.
We done talking about my dick?
We still have
I'm
several.
pretty sure we can tease you. But
No,
not longer.
I mean, are you guys done talking about my dick? Are we done? Or can we move on?
Well, now that you said it like that, you made it sound weird.
Yeah, I am.
I
I'm
have
choosing to make it
Where
weird.
the spirit moves me, so I make no promises.
Yeah, she might talk more about dick.
Moving on. So the chick, she's like a PI. She's like
Miss.
kind of like struggling with her stuff, and then this like dude who's like she finds instantly like ultra attractive shows up, and then she
Yeah.
finds out he's like a AI human hybrid, or cybrid they call them, because they're like basically like human meat suits with like AI programs like shoved into their brains.
He's just like the king of the actualies. Actually.
He's
Yeah.
reincarnation of John Keats.
Yes. So basically he's like, someone killed me, and she's like, the fuck you're talking about? You're right here. It's like, yeah, well, I died, but I came back because apparently he like, someone like basically took his like cyborg
It
body.
literally was the first season of. God, now I can't think of the show. Altered
Survivor.
Carbon.
Yeah, it's Altered Carbon.
It was the first season of Altered Carbon. I was murdered. You're right there. Yeah, but I lost 2 days.
Yeah. So he's like, I lost 2 days of my life, which is like an eternity for an AI. And she's like,
Yeah.
okay.
He was real snotty about it.
Yeah.
Do you
And
know
then-
how much can happen in 2 seconds?
Yeah. Yeah, and then so they track down where he like woke up, and then she like finds these other things. Like it's like a classic like noir detective thing. So they're like,
Yeah.
she's like
A lot of
following
these
him.
clues, yeah.
Yeah. And then they like find him, and then like all of a sudden like she like finds some clues, and then all of a sudden like these like dudes show up and try to kill her and like kidnap him again. And then she like stops them, and then that happens like 3 more times until
And
they
then
go.
they do it.
And,
And
then
then
they
they do
just
it.
walk into the Templars.
Yeah.
Yep, and start bone dancing.
Yeah, they go to like a world that so like we haven't talked about the collective. So like the collective is like there's like
Just we forgot about it.
humans created an AI, and then AI basically just like eventually was like, we don't want to listen to you anymore. We'll help you, like, we don't want you to die, so we'll help you like maintain your shit, but we're going to go do our own thing.
But
and
they
they
did want them to die.
That's what you find out at the end of this one.
Yes. And
Uh
that's the one where you find out, like, it's the attack from
Well,
the
yeah.
future.
yeah.
Creates the time tombs.
Yeah. So basically, the AI had like made like a secret old Earth that was like literally like a reproduction of like old Earth from like I can't remember they said a year. So they go there, and then like they go do the bone dance, and then they like escape there, and they go to find some kind of, what were they looking for in like from the collective? Like some kind of information, right?
That sounds about right.
Yeah. They're trying to get some like
And then
information.
Lost, there was a lot of dense material.
Yeah. They were like trying to get something from the collective. John Keats dies, or Johnny dies, and then she finds out she's pregnant with Johnny's baby, apparently, after they did the bone dancing.
She named it Windows 95.
But yeah, it was a really I enjoy that one too, but I don't know why I missed.
It was, especially after the tone of book 4. That one was actually like kind of enjoyable.
So this was one that I actually was like listening to. Like typically I like listen to these books on like at like work when I'm just like working on projects and stuff. This is one that he was even like, I'm going to bed, and I'm like, I'm gonna like listen to this for like 5 or 10 minutes.
I listened to this one in bed. Yeah.
And then sometimes I'd forget to like. There's one time I forgot to set a timer, so I wonder if that's why I missed the pregnancy thing. So, anyway, so that one happened. That was cool. Any comments on that one? Missy, you said you enjoyed this one the best.
Yeah, I liked no notes. No notes.
Yeah. The final one is the Consul's Tale, which apparently he didn't want to talk about because he's not actually the guy that's the subject of the story. Basically, there's this old like spacer guy, and he's like supposed to work on New Maui or was it New Hawaii? I can't remember. It's like a soon-to-be like colony world of the hegemony, and like they have to do these like deliveries like to like out to the edge of the system and back, and so like for him it's like a week of his life of him like going back and forth between this paradise planet, the edge of space. They go and pick up delivery, bring it back to like bring more construction materials back. On his first like journey down, he meets this chick, and they like,
Siri.
yeah,
And you know what it did? Every single fucking time it said it in the car radio, my phone was like, what?
Guess who has a Google Pixel, bitch? I didn't have to worry about it.
And guess what just did it? Right now.
Yeah. So basically, he meets this chick. He gets like, he's like with this veteran spacer dude who's like, we're gonna go get some nookie. And so they go to like, they're like on planet on leave on like and they're not supposed to leave this island, this like one island that they'd been allowed to for leave, because like the locals didn't like the spacer guys, because the locals weren't too wild about getting like sucked into this like corporatocracy. And the dude comes in and he's like, it's like, I got a way to get us onto the island so we can find some nookie. Because I just remember, because he said nookie so many times.
Felt like you were Limp Bizkit.
It brought
Yeah.
it back. He felt like he was hanging out with Fred Durst.
Yeah, so he
He would have.
they go to this like festival. They get he finds this chick, they bone, and then like he comes back and they're like, hey, time to go home. And then like the guy gets killed by like an angry mob. And then the guy,
Her cousin.
yeah,
It's
by
all
her cousin.
on
Yeah.
both your houses.
Yeah.
Scratch is very like, as soon as he was like drunk, and like it was like I was like Romeo and Juliet. Bam,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's Mercutio.
So then, and then our protagonist gets pissed and just like, apparently sounds like goes on a murder spree and then like runs. And then she like finds him and then like, or like she prevents him from leaving, and then he gets picked up by security, and he's like, you don't get to go back on planet ever again. But then so he does his like week leave, and then he comes back, and it's like 10 years later, and they're like, hey, you have to go down to planet. He's like, I thought I wasn't allowed to go back down to planet. And then he's like, well, the locals demand it. So he basically like fucked this chick who's like a major leader in like on the planet, and knocked her up. So she had a kid, and then like it's become some like mythological tale of how he like took out all these like people or something. He became like this mythological figure that would return every so often. Mm-hmm. And then like,
But he was like a face, because they're like the rebellion, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this is where you start to find that he's not a double agent, he's a triple agent.
yeah.
He's here to burn everything down. They're all trying. I think we didn't start with.
No, we don't get that for a while until like the like 6th iteration of him like coming back, and he's like because she's like 20, like she's like 16 the first time, and he comes back and she's like 26, and then she's like, don't look at me, I'm ugly and old, or no.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, oh no, you're still hot. And then like eventually every time he comes back, she's like 10 or 20, I can't remember, it's 10 or 20 years. Every time he comes back.
We forgot to start by saying that there was a traitor. They were supposed to find. They were telling the stories to find out who the traitor
Yes.
was.
Oh, yeah. We so basically, like, everyone was told they're all pilgrims at the beginning of the book. Everyone was told all of the. I did it again.
Pilgrims on a pilgrimage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pilgrimage.
All the
We're all
people were
pilgrims.
told there's a traitor in their midst. Because there is, and like they're supposed, like that's why they proposed this idea, because they're like, we have to figure out who's the traitor. And then this is basically the final story, because none of these are like have any kind of like government intrigue going on that would be like traitorous to the corporatocracy that is the hegemony. which I don't even think that's the right name for the place anymore. But so like basically every time the dude comes back, his lady's older, and his kid's like 10 years older. Eventually, until like the point where like he's younger than his kid, so he's like this ageless dude that returns every so often. And then like you can see as like the world gets developed, there's like more and more like unrest that happens until eventually she like you find like Siri dies, and then it basically she's like, oh, by the way, I left you a present. And that's when she like blows up the facility that he'd spent like in his time. It's like for him it's like been like 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. But it's like also it's like 100 years or like 70 years of effort of human effort to like create this facility. And she just blows it up. And then he runs off into the sunset to save the dolphins, and then he doesn't save the dolphins. And then you find out that this console that we've been following this entire time is like the great grandson of this dude, who's there to basically like fuck up the hegemony, and he's like been working with the ousters to help them. And he's like, I don't think they're actually there anymore. And then they're like, and then everyone's like, do we actually care if he's a traitor or not? Like
let's kill him. No, we don't have to kill him. We should kill him. Mm-hmm. You're like, okay. That story just felt very like
rambly.
Yeah, and it did not like I was having a hard time following it, and I'm like, where are we even? And like after
that one felt super phoned in.
Sadness, yes, it really did. And then again, they're going to see the wizard. Like, you know,
the book just fell the fuck apart after story 5. You're just like, what is this?
Yeah, he like blew his load on that one, and then
yeah. Like he really crested out because it was a good solid increase, like ramp up, and then the 5 is the best one.
Oh, and then he had to explain. But then you get to the end, and you're like, you have to explain who the traitor is and why they don't kill him.
Yeah. But
like that's it.
At that point, nobody cares.
No one cares.
No one cared at the end of it
because
they're like, we're all gonna die anyway.
He's like, I'm not gonna ask for a favor from the Shrike, and then he's like, I've changed my mind. I'm gonna ask for it for Rachel, and they're like,
oh, it's so cute. It's so good. It's like you're so nice.
Yeah, like you're like, I don't like. How did we get here?
Yeah, you don't care at the end of it. You're like
yeah,
you care about 2 things at the end of it. You want Rachel to get better, and that lady to have her baby. That's all I cared about at the end.
But even like Rachel, like but then she's gonna re-age without her family because her mom died and her dad's probably gonna die.
Her dad's like 70 years old or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, there's literally no happy ending in that story.
So like I want my wish is for him to find peace, whatever that looks like, whether it's them dying together or, you know, like him getting her, but like then she has a sad life. So I don't know. I didn't know who I wanted. Like I guess the baby, the pregnant Fanny
the pregnant lady will take the baby and just raise them together.
Yeah,
so there's 4 books.
No, for fuck's sake!
I have an name for one. You can cliff notes.
They're in pairs.
Rise and fall of Hyperion.
So there's the Hyperion and the fall of Hyperion, and there's Endymion and the rise of Endymion.
Hello, Sean.
Hi, Sean.
Bye, Sean.
Bye,
Sean. I think Brendan fell asleep.
No.
I think Brendan's been tindering.
Yeah.
Have you been tindering?
No.
I see the telltale swipe motion.
No.
No penis for you today.
That was this last weekend. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, you. I don't know. I've never tindered. I just know you swipe left or right. I don't even care.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous if Hyperion wants me to finish it in installments. I'm like,
I finish in one go every.
So yeah, that's sort of like. I guess that took a while to sort of explain what happens with that.
No, you were doing great. You were
It
doing
was
great.
that one,
long,
but-
and it
running
was
the episode
crunchy.
by yourself.
It was long and it was crunchy. It wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't.
It
Yeah.
wasn't, in my opinion, good. It was what it was. Like there were good
Yeah.
points, there were bad points. There were, no.
So
I will not be reading more.
So I think what I know of sci-fi during this time period, that when this book was made, was a lot of sci-fi was not produced as one full novel.
No.
I
A
think
lot of books at that time were parts of series. Like
I
a
think
lot of-
this was like from a like a sci-fi magazine, and each part was written individually. And then the Hyperion book was created from like the author like combining all of those into one.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't looked into it at all, but like just from like what I know about like 70s 80s sci-fi, like this is right in that like niche of like we're writing a bunch of books, we're writing a bunch of short stories, and then we just like make it into a novel later. Like it's like how Witcher was made, you know, like it's how the Witcher books, like the first Witcher book happened. Like
Yeah. I mean, you know more about it than I do.
yeah.
Like these are vignettes, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it's hyping up to something, but yeah, they would be standalone. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I can absolutely see that they're, and you can see if that is the case, like the
Yeah.
rough way that the narrative was tied together after the fact. So, you know,
Yeah, I'm just looking.
I can see that.
Oh yeah. So I'm on the Wikipedia page. Hyperion has the structure of a frame story similar to Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales and Giovanni Boccaccio's Decameron. It doesn't say anything about the production of them, so it might. I don't know if that was correct or not, but anyway. Oh, he started the Hyperion universe when he was an elementary school teacher as an extended tale he told at intervals to his students, which is weird.
That's how we would
because-
threaten them to get their homework done. You do your homework, or I'll tell you a story.
Yeah,
No.
That's where the
yeah, because those books were not PG.
Toothy Beaver.
Yeah. His I don't know if he apparently he ascribes his influences to allusions from Teilhard de Chardin, Jean Muir, Norbert Weiner, John Keats, Norse mythology, and the monk Uman. I don't know what that is, but
Nope.
yeah. That's cool.
All right, who's got the next book?
Yeah, that's Missy. Missy chose
Missy.
herself.
Missy does.
I've picked something that I think Ben will hate.
Oh,
No, just kidding. I
Man.
have two options.
Just don't give options. Ben didn't give us a choice.
I like choices.
I'm not reading Wicked.
No, that was a joke. Okay, so
I heard that's
thought-
like apparently there's tiger sex in that one.
I like Wicked. I read it.
I never read it.
Oh,
So we could do the first Sookie Stackhouse book because I love that one, and Logan was reading it, and
Yeah.
it made me think about it. Or we could do a book called The Book of Doors. It said it was over like on Audible and Everand. It has over 5 stars.
oh,
And it says it's a mix of like
a man fleeing his own demons with his own secret library of magical books that he's hidden away in the shadows for safekeeping.
Oh,
Well,
sick.
you already have it.
No,
No.
I just googled it.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
reading it.
All right, what's
so
the other
a
one?
little bit of time travel, magic.
What was the other
it
one?
said
Sookie
And-
Stackhouse.
Sucky Stackhouse? No. Suki.
Yep.
It's
Sucky.
True Blood. It's the first.
You're talking to me like I have ever
it's-
watched a
what is it,
single
Dead
minute of
Until
True Blood
Dark?
ever.
Dead Until Dawn.
Dead Until Dawn.
So vampires.
Yes.
Book of Doors sounds.
A Book of Doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can read the Sookie Stackhouse, but I do not want to talk about Sookie Stackhouse with either one of you.
Why is that?
Oh, it's that sexual, huh? His face.
So this is a debut novel full of magic, adventure, and romance.
Yeah, fuck it.
This isn't a book talk, is it?
It's no. I just found it when
Okay.
I was Googling.
Okay. I'll say because remember what happened the last time we did a book talk.
I didn't have base vagina teeth. Let's get
All right.
because no matter how
Space
many times,
vagina. That was a terrestrial vagina with
no
teeth.
matter how many times someone has been sheathed, they did not get their penis chopped off and still chose to somehow jizz 3 times during said
Yeah,
chopping.
that's
So-
fair. Yeah.
I'm really excited that you got worked up enough to start talking about dicks being bit off and jizzing at the same time. Like just made me and at the same time somehow be condescending towards Ben. Like
It's an art form.
Anyway,
Okay, so the Book of Doors.
that was
Yeah, Book of
that was
Doors.
Hyperion. There's more of those if you're looking, if you want to do that.
if you want to really
the next-
sink some time
The
into
next
it.
book will be The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown. We don't really have a timeline for when we're going to be doing these episodes as of yet.
That's what makes them so good.
But I
Yeah.
would say, based off of like what the
It's starting
timeline
to
of.
stabilize.
Well, I was
Like
just
how
saying
they
we're
don't
heading.
pick you
I would
up
say.
until New Year's.
I would say probably after New Year's we'll probably be covering this one, and then we'll try to get to like a regular scheduled.
Yeah, don't
program.
worry. We will not let anybody know when the episode's coming up because we will do it like we always do it.
Because I suck at social media. So, thanks everybody for watching. We've been Nerds of Legend. Catch you again next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.